So we've been going to a lot of parks and national parks. Actually, just one national park, but nobody cares about that. And there is a place, two places 4 minutes away, where you can see Johnston's River Line. But I happen to live much closer to a battlefield than I expected. My backyard happens to be a battlefield. So yes, my backyard is where the Federals, aka the Union troops, aka Abraham Lincoln troops, aka William Tecumseh Sherman troops, were stopped by Johnston's River Line, which I would say is about that way. So actually, the place where I'm standing was a battlefield. So amazing. You can actually see a bit of the fortifications. If you continue going that way, you'll see a big bump. It's not man-made. It is man-made from a long time ago. So I just wanted to take a look around my own backyard, my own neighborhood, because guess what? There happened to be a short Civil War battle where the Federals were halted by Johnston's River Line. And let's see how that works. I don't know. Now, not many people know about the battle here, but still, it happened, and I have proof. There's a sign right there that says this is where the Federals were halted by Johnston's River Line. And that sign was supplied by the Georgia Historical District. Well, I'm trusting that. So let's take a look around this tiny little trail and let's see if there are any earthworks, and there are not going to be any signs, so sorry guys who are trying to look for the signs. But still, I believe that this is going to be a very fun time of discussing the Civil War in mine and even your backyard. This isn't actually my backyard. My backyard is down there. But this is a small little park where the Civil War came. So let's take a look. Now, yes, this is kind of like right next to my house, and I can prove it. The address here is like Providence Club Drive, and my address is Providence Club Drive or something like that. So yes, we kind of live on, this is on the same street as my current home. So yeah, that's my proof. Now if you look over here, many people would think that it's a tiny little bump you walk over, boom, done. I wonder why it stretches all the way to Chopade Park. And this way, all the way to Discovery Park at River Line. I wonder why. Maybe it's because this is part of a big trench system. Now, this part probably would have been cleared because this is kind of a big trail. But right here, you can see that this is one of the most popular ways of making fortifications. What they would do is that they would pick up all the sticks, they would bundle it together. Now, just like at Pigeon Hill, they would have these little cracks where they could stick through and shoot without being shot at themselves, which I would say is very smart. Too bad it was only used until then, and during the World War I, they just stuck their heads over the trench like, shoot me! Okay, that's not very smart, but at least at the Civil War, we know that they weren't blistering idiots. Now, something else that I would like you all to know is this very spot. I have proof for what it is. They would roll cannons up it. They would just roll the cannons up, put it up there, and go bum, bum, bum. This probably would have been a Chopade if, I don't know, I actually have no proof that it could be Chopade. But nobody really cares about that, got it? Now, as you can see, this is a very bland fortification, yet it is a fortification, and it probably was pretty useful. It was probably used by the Federals or the Confederates, because the Federals would be on this side, and the Confederates would be on that side, so I think it's a fair share. I think that there's a higher chance that it's part of the Confederate side, because literally every single place that we went to so far was on the Confederate side. Haha. No, I do not want to secede, and I'm not pro-slavery, and I'm definitely not a racist because of... I'm not white. I'm Asian. Now, with that is basically the most outstanding fortification here, and it's kind of the only one that actually stands out. Now, a little fun fact, the Chattahoochee River is right there. Now, if you know anything about the Battle of Atlanta, the Chattahoochee River was very important because that's where a lot of battles happened. Like the Battle of Chattahoochee. People, come on, think about it. Those two parks that we covered in one video, link in the end of the video, you already saw that it was right next to the Chattahoochee River. Got it? Now, with the Chattahoochee River kind of being right there, means that there must have been some fighting, right? You're correct! And although the Chattahoochee River is pretty cool, this side there were no battles in Chattahoochee. Only the Federals crossed the river, walked up here and got murdered, and then come up and got murdered, and then brought cannons and the Confederates surrendered. That's basically what happened here. It's simple. Now, I know that the real parks have more history there and more fortifications, but I have to say, we have to appreciate every single battlefield that we have. Go look up what state you live in. Because the comment section is the thing, you can shout whatever state that you live in. And if you don't know, I can tell you if the Civil War ever made it to you. And there probably was. Or if any other war made it to you. If you live in Russia, I hope that you don't like Putin that much. If you live in places like Taiwan, then yes, some battles happened there. If you live literally anywhere in the world, battles happened straight to you. I don't really want to show you guys my backyard because it kind of sucks. But I can assure you that my backyard was specifically where an army marched. And here, this is the only fortification. Chattahoochee River's down there. This trench line reaches to Chopade Park and all the way down to Riverline Park. And that is basically the entire Civil War history of this tiny trail. Now, I know that this is not surprising to a lot of you, and you might be like, oh, wow, I wasted a lot of time. But seriously, depending on what state you lived in, there's a higher chance that you kind of live on a place where people died. And I think that's pretty cool. And maybe if you're digging in your backyard, you'll pick up an 1860 Naval Army Colt revolver. And then you'll know, either this is a fake, either I'm mental, or I live right on top of a Civil War battlefield. And then you continue digging and you find a dead body, and you're like, well, I definitely do live on the battlefield. And with that, I hope we can all appreciate our own neighborhood, even our own backyard, to be a place where people sacrifice their lives. Or maybe not. If you live in places like New York, there's probably nothing that ever happened there except for the American Revolution. If you live in the parts that were not captured by the Japanese in Taiwan, then yeah, not much battles happened there except for the Japanese invasion of Korea and China. But yes, your backyard was a place where people murdered other people with knives, guns, and other ways to stab people. And I'll see you in my next video where we'll be going to Kennesaw Park again, where I'm going to tell you the entire history of it. My first episode about Kennesaw was about the whole how the fortifications worked, but tomorrow I will be talking about the actual Battle of Kennesaw and why it was important. Well, I'm going to see you then!